What has been called the crime and the trial of the century is over. The Yorkshire Ripper has been given a life sentence, and the judge expressed the hope that the sentence really would mean Sutcliffe would stay in prison for life. A 5-year manhunt, the biggest in British criminal history, is finished. But the questions raised by that manhunt and the subsequent trial of Peter Sutcliffe are by no means finished with. A jury has decided that the Ripper was a monster, not mad, but evil. But what lessons have we learned for the future? How efficient was the police hunt for the Ripper? What of the trial, which was to have been pushed through in 3 days until the judge sent for a jury, and it took 3 weeks? And what of checkbook journalism and the behaviour of Fleet Street? There is also the question of the sentence and the role of psychiatrists in murder trials. Has this perhaps even changed the future of the charge of murder itself? The ending of the Ripper case has raised more issues of vital public concern than it's answered. Ronald Gregory is the Chief Constable of West Yorkshire Police Force. Mr. and Mrs. Leach are the parents of Barbara Leach, who was murdered by the Ripper in September '79. They've been at the trial in the Old Bailey, and they've bravely agreed to come into our studio in Leeds tonight. Another parent, Mrs. Doreen Hill, is the mother of Jacqueline, the Ripper's last victim, in November last year. She's also been at the trial, but she's in our London studio because, understandably, she and her husband feel that they can't face the prospect of visiting Leeds or even Yorkshire after what has happened to them. Derek Jameson was the editor of the Daily Express and of the Star. David Yallop is a journalist and author who's made a special study of the Ripper case and whose book, Deliver Us from Evil, is now being rushed into print. Louis Blom Cooper, QC, is a leading lawyer. Anthony Clare in London is a consultant psychiatrist. Bob Cryer is MP for Keighley up here in the north and has called for an inquiry into the police hunt for the Ripper and other aspects of the case. We also have in the studio Ronald Barker, who was a neighbour and friend of Sutcliffe, and who, when he gave evidence at the trial, was forced to reveal that he'd taken money from newspapers. First of all, if I can turn to you, Chief Constable, it is over. What would you say we, and more particularly you and your police force, have learned from it?
We've learned